some people were like something's wrong, like, and that's kind of where I fell on the side of thing. Like, I think something's wrong just by being that close. I've been to a couple other events on the floor. It's best to be in the first little set of seats and the angles just for sight wise, unless you can get in the first three rows.
Hmm.
Tickets for pay-per-views are just outrageous. Heck, I think I paid nearly $300, and that's why I tell everybody, this is 1999. I paid $300, and I went and saw
Wow.
somebody die. I mean, that's I just
Yeah.
it's one of those strange events where you just like really big build up to it, and everything was super pumped about it, and then it just crashed down.
We have
That's
another
what.
question as well from Todd Forrest, who basically he's quoting the Jim Cornette had said on the Dark Side of the Ring that when Owen was falling, people said they could hear him shout, "Look out!" Did you hear any of that?
Yeah, and I even told my daughter about that too. That's what was weird since the video was they were playing. Everybody was so quiet in the crowd since they were talking on the screen, so everybody wanted to be able to hear what you're. And I remember and now after hearing that, because I've never heard nobody else say that. In my mind, I had heard that somebody yell, and I heard something.
Mm-hmm.
I never put two and two together until I heard him say that, and then I watched another video saying that the referee had heard the same thing, and he could hear. And what I honestly thought it was him yelling out of the way or get out, or. But
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I couldn't tell you what the words were now, but I heard something, somebody yelling something, and then like I said, that crazy boom. It was loud, and
Yeah.
but yeah, something was yelled, and when that had happened, yeah, I thought, man, I think I heard something, but you don't put that in your mind. And then after watching that cornet, and yeah, that jives with what I remember too, being that close.
God, so I mean, 20 years. I mean, it's 20 years now since that happened. Um, as looking back on it, do you feel that it kind of affected your life in any way, or did you feel that it was something you've seen? I mean, you watched a man die right in front of you, and
Yeah,
not just a man, but Owen Hart. One
yeah,
Owen Hart from the most prestigious family in wrestling, the Hart family. You watched Owen Hart die right in front of you, and I mean that's not something everybody can say, and it's obviously, I mean,
yeah.
no one wants to be
Who
in that
wants to say?
position. But you were there. You were in the third row. You can literally see you in the images as you sent across that you can find on our social media. Um, you were there, and it's not that this is one of those scenarios that even in 20 years time, this will always be remembered throughout the history of wrestling. This will be remembered, and you were sat there in the third row, and it's what taken 20 years for you to actually speak publicly on it. I mean, that's just. I mean, how does that sit for you? I mean, for me, it's like saying you were there when President Kennedy got shot.
Yeah,
You were there when the moon landed. You watched the rocket take off. You were there when Owen Hart had his tragedy. And as much, of course, it's not nothing to glorify. It's it's
yeah,
it's one of those things that everybody must remember in regards to moving forward and being safe in that business. And sadly, it's become one of those things where you mention Owen Hart and it's right next to him, and it kind of shadows over the career that he was an unbelievable worker. He was a pioneer ahead of his time, and you were there for his last moments, not only in wrestling but in life. I mean, you must carry some sort of weight
yeah,
on your shoulders with that.
yeah. I do. I tell you, as I drive to work, I work part time, but I work full time, but I drive to a studio and work, and I drive by that Kemper Arena, and it's to my right, less than. I mean, it's a 10-minute drive from my house, right from where I sit right now. I could be there in 10 minutes, and it's right on the side of the highway. You can see it from the highway. So every Saturday when I'm on my way to work, or every Wednesday when I go, I that's what I remember. I not all the great concerts and all the, everything. I have to kind of physically, mentally go back into my record book and remember the first image, and unfortunately, that comes up in my computer bank. When you say Kemper Arena or you see that building, that's the first image that pops up. Now, slowly over a few years, other things, and I remember right afterwards. But No, driving by that and seeing that, man, that's the first thing you remember, man. You see that and that pops in your head every time, man. And yeah, man, it affected me a long time. My wife said I was probably in shock for many, many weeks and many months, still didn't talk right, and like I said, I wasn't something like I was just sitting in my room freaking out. It was just one of those things like you were a little off for a while and didn't understand that why you were, off for a little while. And then you like, oh yeah, yeah, I saw that. And that's when you kind of put it all together.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
well,
crazy.
I've got one more question for you.
Yeah.
This is just from me. Um, the you were there that night. Obviously, we've been speaking about it for a while. um, do you wish that you weren't there that night, or do you think it's helped shape you as to become the person that you are?
Yeah, that's a great that's a great question, man. It did. It really did shape me who I am. I at first there for a long time. You say now, I wish I'd never seen that. Never been. But like I said before, my wife she was 7 months pregnant, 8 months pregnant with our first child. When I saw this, I have to think it had some effect on me as far as knowing how quick life can be snuffed out. I hadn't really experienced any death really in the family at that point. I had one grandparent at that point passed away when I was a very young kid, but I still had my mom and all my other grandparents and stuff. So I hadn't really experienced death. I had lost a girlfriend in high school that was, a
Mhm.
friend of ours in high school, but nothing, so yeah, man, I think that like, may affected the whole, how I kind of look.